Hello, Deadlings. Welcome back to Exploring the Entity, where killers, survivors, and secrets collide. I'm your co-host, Ducati.
And Mark.
On today's episode, we will do an introduction to Dead by Daylight's easy 3 killers, Trapper, Wraith, and Legion.
The first character we'll be talking about in this episode will be Trapper. His real name was Evan McMillan, with the alias of Chuckles. He was a tall American male, released on June 14, 2016. He comes from the McMillan estate realm, using his cleaver to chase down the survivors, and moves at 4.6 meters per second, with a tear radius of 32 meters. His 3 teachable perks are Agitation, Brutal Strength, and Unnerving Presence. Agitation states, while carrying a survivor, you gain 6% at level 1, 12% at level 2, and 18% at level 3 of haste. Your tear radius is also 12 meters larger. Brutal Strength allows you to basic break pallets, breakable walls, and damage generators 10% at level 1, 15% at level 2, and 20% at level 3 faster. Unnerving Presence causes survivors within your tear radius to get 10% more basic skill checks, and the good zone of basic skill checks is 40% at level 1, 50% at level 2, and 60% at level 3 smaller. Moving on to the power. Trapper's special ability, which is a bear trap. The Trapper starts the trial with 2 bear traps equipped. Additionally, 8 disarmed bear traps spawn in random locations throughout the environment. The auras of bear traps are revealed to the Trapper at all times. A special interaction, which is collecting traps, pressing the interaction button while standing near or above a bear trap to retrieve and collect it. The Trapper may carry up to 2 bear traps at a time. Special interaction, setting traps, press and hold the power button to set and arm a carried bear trap, which grants a 7.5% haste status effect for 5 seconds, and armed bear traps trap and immobilize any survivor stepping into them. This will also injure healthy survivors, and trapped survivors can try to free themselves from it, which may take several attempts or wait for another survivor to rescue them. Armed bear traps also temporarily trap and immobilize the Trapper, stepping into them, until he frees his foot and resets it. This will cause any carried survivor to escape from his shoulder. Special interaction, resetting traps. Press and hold the power button while standing above a disarmed bear trap to reset and arm it. Special interaction, catching survivors. Press the interaction button while standing near a trapped survivor to lift them out of the bear trap and onto the Trapper's shoulder, immediately allowing him to carry them. And here are the add-ons for Trapper's bear trap with their descriptions. Bear oil. Setting a bear trap is silent. Makeshift wrap. You are no longer caught in your own bear traps. They are automatically disarmed instead. Padded jaws. Bear traps immobilize survivors without damaging them. Grants 100% bonus blood points for trapping survivors. Trapper gloves. Increases the setting speed of the bear trap by plus 30%. 4-coil spring kit. Increase the disarm time of the bear trap by 33%. Coffee grounds. Increases the strength of the haste status effect after setting a bear trap by 5%. Lengthened jaws. Survivors who escape from bear traps suffer from the deep wound status effect. Serrated jaws. Survivors injured by a bear trap suffer from the hemorrhage status effect until fully healed. Wax break. Increases the rescue and escape times of the bear trap by plus 33%. Fastening tools. Increases the rescue and escape times from the bear trap by plus 25% and increases the setting speed of the bear trap by plus 50%. Rusted jaws. Survivors injured by a bear trap suffer from the mangled status effect for 70 seconds. Secondary coil. Increases the disarm time of the bear trap by plus 50%. Tar bottle. Darkens the bear trap. Trapper bag. Increases the number of carried bear traps by +1. Honing stone. The razor-sharp blades inflict deep wounds aimed at bleeding the victim as fast as possible. Survivors caught in a bear trap who free themselves are inflicted with the dying state. Oily coil. Resetting a bear trap reveals the aura of the last survivor to have disarmed it for 5 seconds. Tension spring. Automatically resets the bear traps 2 seconds after a survivor escaped from it. Trapper sack. Causes all bear traps to be carried in your inventory at the beginning of the trial. You can no longer pick up any placed bear traps, only reset them. Bloody coil. When a healthy survivor disarms a bear trap, the bloody coil exacts its price, putting the survivor into the injured state. Iridescent stone. Automatically resets and arms a random bear trap every 30 seconds. As for lore, it goes far more in depth if you study the tomes. You will receive little snippets of information. Put it together and it becomes a much more cohesive story. The summary of Trapper's lore goes as follows. Evan McMillan idolized his father. It wasn't just that he was heir to a great fortune, it was the way he ran the estate. Raised under his firm hand, Evan had taken to running the workforce with an iron hand. Production was always high and the McMillan estate prospered under father and son. As Archie McMillan's mental health slowly disintegrated, Evan protected him from the herd who wanted a piece of the fortune. No matter what his father asked of him, Evan would do. When Archie McMillan finally snapped, Evan became his enforcer in what would become known as the worst mass murder in modern history. They never proved that Evan led over 100 men into those dark tunnels before detonating the explosives and sealing them to their fate. The tale of the McMillan estate is a tale of wealth and power gone very wrong. How many victims fell to the hands of father and son is unknown. No record is ever made of what became of Evan McMillan. His father is another unsolved puzzle, found trapped in the locked basement of his own warehouse, starved and abandoned.
Next up, we have the Wraith. His regular original name was Philip Ojomo. In-game, his game alias is Bob. He is a Nigerian male of tall stature. He was released in June 14, 2016 to the realm Autohaven Wreckers. His power is the Wailing Bell. His weapon is Azrael's Skull. His movement speed uncloaked is 4.6 meters per second. During the cloak state, he is 6 meters per second. His tear radius is 32 meters. His first perk is the Bloodhound. The description is pools of blood are brighter and last 2 seconds longer at level 1, 3 seconds at level 2, and 4 seconds at level 3. Next, we have Predator. When you stop chasing a survivor, you see their aura for 4 seconds. It goes on cooldown for 60 seconds at level 1, 50 seconds at level 2, and 40 seconds at level 3. Lastly, we have Shadowborn. Whenever you're blinded, you gain 6% haste for 10 seconds at level 1, 8% haste for 10 seconds at level 2, and 10% haste for 10 seconds at level 3. For Wraith's power, we have a quote to describe it as a heavy cast iron bell embodied with ancient powers. Allows the user to enter and walk the spirit world when rung. His first special object is the Wailing Bell. The Wraith starts the trial in the cloak state, which has the following effects. Grants the undetectable status effect, increases his movement speed to 6 meters per second, fully invisible to survivors who are further than 20 meters away from him, partially invisible to survivors who are within 20 meters of him, and fully transparent while stationary for a moment and for as long as he remains unmoving. It removes the ability to attack or interact with survivors. The Wraith still is able to interact with props. Ringing the wailing bell can be heard by survivors throughout the trial within the following ranges. The bell toll has a range of 24 meters. The accompanying whoosh noise during the transition phase has a range of 40 meters. His other special ability is the cloak and uncloak. The Wraith must uncloak in order to attack and interact with survivors. Press and hold the power button at any time to ring the wailing bell and uncloak, exiting the spirit world. The uncloaking speed boosts his movement speed to 150% for 1 second. The Wraith can cloak and re-enter the spirit world at any time by pressing and holding the power button again to ring the wailing bell. Now we will be transitioning to the Wraith's add-ons. The first one is called the Beast. It represents the realm of fear and is finger drawn out of scoot on the body of the bell. Your tail radius is no longer suppressed when cloaked. It grants 100% bonus points for stalking and surprise attack score events. Next up we have the Ghost. It represents the spirit world and is finger drawn out of scoot on the body of the bell. Your tear radius and red stain are suppressed for another 6 seconds after uncloaking. Next, we have the Hound, representing a peerless tracker, and it is drawn out of the scoot of the body of the bell. It states, when cloaked, pools of blood appear to you in bright red. The Spirit. It represents cunning, and is drawn out of the scoot of the body of the bell. Breaking unbreakable walls or pallets by any means, or performing the damage generator action on incomplete generators will cause you to automatically uncloak. Next, we have Blind Warrior. This symbol represents ferocity and is drawn from the mud on the body of the bell. Survivors hit with a surprise attack suffer from the blindness status effect for 60 seconds. Blink represents quick passing and is drawn from the mud on the body of the bell. It reduces the cloaking time by 40%. Swift Hunt, representing a rapid descendant of a prey, is drawn from the mud on the body of the bell, and it reduces the uncloaking time by 8%. Windstorm, representing a howling storm, and is drawn from the mud on the body of the bell, increases your movement speed by plus 5% when cloaked. Bone Clapper. A bell clapper made from a highly polished piece of bone causes the sounds of the wailing bell to echo and rap chaotically. Survivors are unable to discern the distance and direction of the wailing bell. Blind Warrior. The symbol represents forcidity and is stamped in white ink on the body of the bell. Survivors hit with a surprise attack suffer from the hemorrhage and mangled status effect for 70 seconds. Blink. This represents the quick passing and is stamped in white ink on the body of the bell. It reduces the cloaking time by 60%. Shadow Dance. Representing dark synergy, it is stamped in white ink on the body of the bell, increasing the action speeds for breaking breakable walls and pallets, damaging generators, and vaulting windows by plus 40% when cloaked. Swift Hunt. This represents a rapid descent on a prey, and it is stamped in white ink on the body of the bell. It reduces the uncloaking time by 10%. Windstorm. This represents a howling storm and is stamped in white ink on the body of the bell. Increases your movement speed by plus 7% when cloaked. All-Seeing. This represents the entity watching over us and is stamped in blood on the head of the bell. Unlocks hidden potential in your aura reading ability. The auras of survivors are revealed to you within 8 meters of your location when cloaked. Shadow Dance, representing dark synergy and is stamped in blood on the body of the bell. It increases the action speeds for breaking breakable walls and pallets, damaging generators, and vaulting windows by plus 60% when cloaked. Lastly, we have the coxcombed clapper, a simple coxcomb knotted rope wrapped around the bell clapper to muffle its noise. A malevolent aura emanates from it, and it silenced the wailing bell. A quick summary of Philip Ojomo's lore. Philip Ojomo came to this country without anything more than hope for a new beginning. He was happy as he got offered a job at Auto Haven Wreckers, a small scrapyard where bribed cops turned a blind eye for the somewhat shady business that took place. Ojomo didn't care. He had seen criminal activity up close in his homeland, and as long as he didn't get involved, he let things be. He just fixed cars and handled the crusher. Something he did very well. A car went in, and a small metallic cube came out. It was not until one gloomy day that he just by accident saw some blood coming from one of the uncrushed cars. As he opened the trunk, he found a young man, gagged and with tied hands, with panic-filled eyes. Ojomo freed the man, who managed to run 10 feet before Ojomo's boss stopped him and slit his throat. As Ojomo deemed answers, he got explained to him that he'd been nothing more than a simple executioner, as more or less every car had a soul in them, as this was a service the scrapyard provided to certain clients. Ojomo snapped and went ballistic. He threw his boss in the crusher and let it slowly compress. As the head stuck out, Ojomo grabbed it and pulled head and spine out of the body. Then he left and was never seen again. The Legions are a gang of 2 males and 2 women from Canada, known as Frank, Julie, Susie, and Joey. They are of average height, and they belong to the Ormond realm. Their power is called the Feral Frenzy, which they complete using their hunting knife weapon. At base kit, their movement speed is 4.6 meters per second, with a tear radius of 32 meters. During power, they have a movement speed of 5.2 meters per second, accompanied with a 40-meter tear radius. Their first perk is Discordance. Within 64 at level 1, 96 at level 2, and 128 at level 3 meters from you, whenever a generator is being repaired by at least 2 survivors, you are alerted. While that generator is being repaired by at least 2 survivors, you see its auras. When it is no longer being repaired by at least 2 survivors, this ends after 4 seconds. Next up, we have Iron Maiden. Whenever a survivor exits a locker, they get exposed for 30 seconds. They scream, then you are alerted to their location for 4 seconds. You open lockers 30% faster at level 1, 40% faster at level 2, and 50% faster at level 3. Mad Grit. While carrying a survivor, whenever you miss a basic attack, your cooldown is 100% shorter. Whenever you damage a survivor with a basic attack, the carried survivor gains no wiggle progress for 2 seconds at level 1, 3 seconds at level 2, and 4 seconds at level 3. The hunting knife is the primary weapon of the Legion, a sharp blade with a jagged saw back and textured handle. The power is Feral Frenzy. They were a plain group of friends until Frank formed them into a legion. Now they draw power from the thrilling freedom of not abating to any rule but their own. Their special ability, the Feral Frenzy. Press the power button to trigger Feral Frenzy. It increases their movement speed to 5.2 meters per second and unlocks their ability to perform Feral Vaults and Feral Slashes. Their special ability, the Feral Vault, can be unlocked by pressing the interaction button during Feral Frenzy while next to a dropped pallet or a window to perform a Feral Vault. That grants the ability to swiftly vault over them in 0.9 seconds. The special ability, Feral Slash, you press the attack button during Feral Frenzy to initiate a Feral Slash attack. Hitting a survivor with it applies the following effects. injures survivor and causes them to suffer from the deep wound status effect. Instantly refills the power gauge. Triggers killer instinct on all survivors inside the terror radius who are not currently suffering from deep wound. Increases the movement speed of the Legion by an additional plus 0.2 meters per second per hit survivor, up to a maximum of plus 0.8 meters per second after 4 successful Fury Slashes. Causes the 5th Flurry Slash to be a lethal and apply double damage. This also affects survivors already suffering from deep wound. Healing a survivor already suffering from deep wound or missing a Feral Slash automatically ends Feral Frenzy. After Feral Frenzy, either elapses or the Legion cancels it prematurely. They enter a state of fatigue for 3 seconds.
Now on to the add-ons for the Legion and the descriptions that follow. Friendship Bracelet. Extends the lunge duration of Feral Slashes by plus 0.3 seconds, which increases your attack range. Mischief List. Extends the duration of Feral Frenzy by plus 2 seconds. Scratched Ruler. Reduces the recovery time of Feral Frenzy by negative 5 seconds. Smiley Face Pin. Survivors suffer from the blindness status effect for 60 seconds after mending themselves. Defaced Smiley Pin. Survivors suffer from the mangled status effect for 60 seconds after mending themselves. Etched Ruler. Survivors hit with a Feral Slash suffer from the Oblivious status effect for 60 seconds. Julie's Mixtape. Instantly recharges Feral Frenzy after being stunned by any means while using it. Unlocks an additional sound layer in your terror radius, enhancing it musically. Julie's Mixtape can be combined with any other mixtape add-on to unlock multiple sound layer combos. Mural Sketch. Increases the stackable movement speed boost gained from chain Feral Slashes to plus 3 meters per second up to a maximum of plus 1.2 meters per second. Never Sleep Pills. Extends the duration of Feral Frenzy by plus 10 seconds. Reduces the starting movement speed of Feral Frenzy to 4.6 meters per second. Grants a stackable plus 100 bonus blood points for successful Feral Slashes up to a maximum of plus 500. Joey's Mixtape. Survivors suffer from the hemorrhage status effect until fully healed after mending themselves. Stolen Sketchbook. Causes survivors hit with chained Feral Slashes to drop any carried item. Stylish Sunglasses. The auras of survivors mending themselves within 24 meters of your location are revealed to you. Susie's Mixtape. Increases the detection radius of Killer Instinct by plus 20 meters. The Legion Pin. Survivors suffer from the broken status effect for 60 seconds after mending themselves. BFFs. Grants 0 tokens for the first Feral Slash. Grants plus 2 tokens for the second Feral Slash. Grants plus 3 tokens for the third Feral Slash. Grants plus 4 tokens for the fourth Feral Slash. And grants plus 5 tokens for the fifth Feral Slash. Once the exit gates are powered and BFFs has acquired 15 plus tokens, you benefit from the following effect. Grants a plus 6% haste status effect outside of using Feral Frenzy. 50 Blade. Increases the mending time of survivors by plus 4 seconds. Frank's Mixtape. During Feral Frenzy, you benefit from the following effects. Pauses the power gauge depletion while performing a break or damage action. Increases the action speed for damaging generators by plus 20%. Increases the action speed for breaking breakable walls by plus 30%. Stab Wound Study. The auras of survivors are revealed to you for 4 seconds after they mend themselves. Fuming Mixtape. During Feral Frenzy, the intensity of generator auras reveals their current repair progress and incomplete generators start regressing. Iridescent Button. Causes Feral Vaults to instantly break pallets. Up next is the lore for the Legion. Frank Morrison was 19 and had little to show for it. He'd stopped attending school after being kicked out of the baseball team for shoving a referee into the stands. Yet Frank was a man of potential, who could light up a room despite his bleak childhood. At 6 years old, he'd been taken away from Calgary to start a circuit of foster homes. No matter how many times he'd lashed out, threw tantrums, and got into fights, they'd kept moving him to new, unfamiliar houses. His last move had been 3 years prior when his last foster dad, Clive Andrews, had picked him up from the adoption center. They'd been on the road for 7 hours before reaching a small bungalow in Ormond. It would be the longest time they'd spend together. Clive was too busy trading checks from family services for drinks at the bar. Ormond was a small, stale place, a remote town of 6,000 inhabitants where gray winters drag on for most of the year. Frank did everything he could to get into another adoptive family, but he changed his mind when he caught the attention of Julie, a beautiful girl who was convinced that she deserved better than a life in Ormond, and Frank, as an outsider, was her ticket out. Frank attended the parties she threw where everyone was younger than him and easily impressed, which he liked. He met the impulsive Joey, who liked to show off, and the shy, naive Susie, who was Julie's best friend. They would hang out at an abandoned lodge up in Mount Ormond. Their time together was the perfect break from the boring conformity of their small, insignificant everyday lives. Frank saw it as an opportunity to shape their lack of experience into something powerful. He lined up nights of debauchery and rampage, testing their limits. Bullying, vandalism, and theft were essentially their weekend plans. It came to a point where they would do anything he asked. Nothing was off limits when they put their masks on. One evening, Frank dared Joey to vandalize the store that he had recently fired him. They snuck inside easily enough, as the building was supposed to be empty after closing hours, but a cleaner who was still there grabbed Julie as soon as she came near. Hearing her stifled cries, a dark impulse took over Frank. He rushed to her aid, knife in hand, and without hesitating, planted the blade into the cleaner's back. As the group stared at Frank in shock, he ordered them to finish the job. Joey clenched his jaw, grabbed the knife, and stabbed the bleeding man in the ribs. Susie didn't want to do it. Frank shouted at her. They had to finish what they'd started. Julie closed her eyes and slid the knife into the man's chest. She handed the wet blade to Susie. They were all in this together now. Susie stared at Julie in disbelief as Frank grabbed her trembling hands and inserted the knife deep into the man's throat. Frank told them to move fast. They'd mop the floor off the blood, stashed the body in the trunk of Joey's car, and drove up Mount Ormond. All four were digging in the muddy snow to dispose of the body when Frank spotted something moving through the woods. He grabbed his knife and broke from the group to check it out. The fog thickened around Frank, becoming so dense that he could soon no longer see ahead. He retraced his steps and stumbled onto an ominous trail. He followed the eerie path as if called by the darkness. Julie, Susie, and Joey finished digging, but Frank was nowhere to be seen. Julie spotted his muddy footprints in the snow, and the three of them followed the trail, which took them deeper into the woods. When Julie, Susie, and Joey did not return home that night, their parents thought they'd run away with Frank. Each family came up with a different theory. The mood in the town, however, changed when a body was found by an abandoned lodge up Mount Ormond.
Thank you for joining us on today's episode. Come back next week to explore some of Dead by Daylight's medium difficulty rated killers. Remember to join us on YouTube at Exploring the Entity DVD and follow us on Instagram at Exploring the Entity. Until next time, Deadlings, keep your eyes on the shadows. Listen for the claws. Because the fog doesn't just surround you, it waits for you.